Hello, fellow food lovers. Today I will be making Chinese Char Siu, also known as Cantonese barbecue pork, using a simplified method. You will need between 1 to 2 pounds of pork belly slab with the skin removed, bottled Char Siu sauce. The most common brand is Lee Kum Kee, and honey. Okay, so this cut is actually from the pork shoulder, but the easiest cut to use for barbecue pork is pork belly with the skin removed. Basically, you're looking for a piece of meat that's about 1 inch thick, and each piece of meat should be about 2 to 3 inches wide. So I'm going to actually cut this piece of meat down the center. So each piece will be about 2 inches wide. This is just the perfect shape for Chinese barbecue pork. So it's about 1 inch thick and about 2 inches wide, like that. That's perfect. So I got two pieces like that. So I'm going to put it into a bowl, and I'm actually going to marinate it with that bottled Char Siu sauce, or the bottled Chinese barbecue pork sauce. Okay, this is what it looks like. It says Char Siu sauce, and it has a picture of barbecue pork on the label. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of the sauce over the meat. So if you have more meat, add more sauce, but for each piece, I'm adding 1 tablespoon, so 2 tablespoons total. So I'm going to use my hands and fingers. I'm going to massage the barbecue pork sauce into the meat. You make sure that every surface is covered by the sauce. Okay, so I have plastic wrap or saran wrap. I'm going to take off a piece. I'm going to cover the pork with it, making sure there's no air between the wrap and the pork. And I'm going to put that in the fridge overnight. It needs at least overnight, or 24 hours is best to marinate in the fridge before you bake it. So I'll be baking it tomorrow. Okay, so this is tomorrow, the next day. I've taken a pan and I've lined it with aluminum foil. And I'm gonna place those 2 pieces of pork onto the foil in the pan. So I have the oven preheated already. It's at 375 degrees on bake. So the bottom element of the stove is on, and I'm going to place this on either the middle or the top rack in the oven. But don't put it in the low rack. Don't put it right next to the element that's on, otherwise it'll burn. So either put it in the middle rack of the oven or the top rack. Okay, so while the oven's warming, I'm going to get the glaze ready for when the pork is finished. So I'm going to take that same Char Siu sauce. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of it. It's quite a sticky sauce. Okay, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of honey to that. So it's 1 tablespoon of the Char Siu sauce and 1 tablespoon of honey. So I'm going to give that a mix up. So there's honey and Char Siu sauce mix. I'll be brushing it onto the pork when it's cooked. To finish it off, it'll give it a nice sweet glaze at the end. Okay, so the oven's been preheated. It's at 375 and it's on bake. So I'm going to put it on the top rack. You don't want to put it too close to the element that's on, or it'll burn. And I'm going to bake it for 10 minutes at 375. Okay, 10 minutes have gone by. I'm going to pull the pan out. And I'm going to turn it over so I can bake the other side. Okay, so both pieces are turned over. And I'm going to put it back in the oven and bake for another 10 minutes at 375. Okay, another 10 minutes have gone by, so I've baked the pork for a total of 20 minutes. It's pretty much cooked. So now I'm going to glaze it to finish it off. So that honey and Char Siu sauce mix that I've made earlier, I'm going to use a brush. I'm going to brush it onto the top of it. So I'm going to brush that sweet honey barbecue pork sauce glaze onto the top of the barbecue pork. I'm just going to put it back in the oven and bake for another 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, just to set the glaze. Okay, so 2 to 3 minutes have gone by. I'm pulling the pork out again. It's got a nice glaze on it. So I'm going to turn it over. So I turned it over. I'm going to put the glaze on the other side now, on the top. And be generous with the glaze. It's very tasty if you put a lot of it on there. Now, not a total lot, but don't be stingy with the sauce for sure. Okay, so I'm going to put it back in the oven. So I'm going to put it back in the oven for another 2 to 3 minutes and it'll be done. Okay, so 2 or 3 minutes have gone by. It's done now. So I'm going to cut it up now. I like to slice my barbecue pork at a diagonal. It makes it look nicer. So I'm going to dish it up. So yeah, it looks better if you slice it at a diagonal for sure. So there you have it. That's Chinese barbecue pork, or also known as Char Siu. It's a very classic Cantonese barbecue item. Okay, bon appetit.